The subtle psychology of destruction. Toxic behaviors don't begin as hurricanes. They start as whispers, little shifts in the wind that grow stronger over time. What makes them dangerous is not just their intensity but their insidiousness, the way they creep into our lives and embed themselves into our relationships, our identities, and even our understanding of love. Today, we're diving deep into the hidden mechanics of toxic behavior. From the illusion of victimhood to the emotional roller coaster of inconsistency, these patterns reveal truths about power, control, and the human psyche. When victimhood becomes a throne, let's begin with a behavior that's as old as storytelling itself: weaponized victimhood. Picture this. Someone paints themselves as the eternal victim, weaving a narrative where every setback in their life is someone else's fault. At first, you empathize. You step in, offering support, solutions, even parts of yourself. But soon, it becomes clear they don't want solutions. They want a stage. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process they do not become a monster." In this dynamic, the supposed victim becomes the very thing they claim to despise. By casting others as the villains, they trap you in a loop of guilt where your compassion becomes a leash. True care involves empowerment, not dependency. If someone consistently refuses to take responsibility for their actions while demanding your emotional labor, it's a signal not of their need, but of their control. Remember, love is not a rescue mission, and you are not a martyr. The quiet violence of subtle criticism. Now, let's explore a behavior that hides in plain sight: subtle criticism. It's not the kind of overt hostility that's easy to spot. No, this is quieter: a passing comment, a light laugh at your expense, or a dismissive remark that lingers long after the conversation ends. "You're so dramatic. Why do you always make a big deal out of nothing? It's just a joke. Can't you take one?" These words may seem insignificant, but over time they erode your sense of self. French philosopher Simenon, while once wrote, "Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity." Subtle criticism denies you this generosity. It redirects your attention inward, forcing you to doubt your instincts, your reactions, and your very perception of reality. When this happens, ask yourself, is this feedback meant to build me up or break me down? Criticism rooted in care fosters growth. Criticism rooted in control fosters dependency. The weight of emotional demands. Then there's toxic entitlement to your time and energy. These individuals often present themselves as helpless, constantly in need of your support, but their helplessness is not vulnerability, it's a tactic. They don't ask for your time, they consume it. Philosopher Kierkegaard spoke of the sickness unto death, which he described as despair born of disconnection from oneself. When someone drains your energy, it's not just your time they take, it's your connection to your inner world, your creativity, and your emotional reserves. Be wary of those who turn love into obligation. A healthy relationship involves mutual respect for boundaries. Toxicity, on the other hand, demands that you erase them entirely. The chaos of emotional inconsistency. Perhaps the most devastating toxic behavior is emotional inconsistency. One moment they are warm, attentive, and loving. The next they withdraw, leaving you confused and desperate for the connection you just had. This pattern, known as intermittent reinforcement, is a psychological tactic often used to maintain control. Philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre wrote, "Freedom is what you do with what's been done to you." Emotional inconsistency robs you of this freedom. It conditions you to chase the highs of affection while blaming yourself for the lows. This behavior is particularly damaging because it ties your sense of self-worth to someone else's whims. To break free, you must recognize the cycle for what it is: not love, but manipulation. The price of tolerance. Every time we tolerate toxic behavior, we pay a price. That price might be our peace, our identity, or our sense of security. Philosopher Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When we accept toxicity, we surrender this power. We normalize chaos and teach ourselves to endure what should never be endured. But endurance is not a virtue when it comes at the cost of your soul. Healing is not about fixing the other person, it's about reclaiming your sense of self. Set boundaries, demand respect, and most importantly, trust that you deserve relationships rooted in consistency, kindness, and care. Final thoughts. The philosophy of healing. Philosophy teaches us to question the world around us, but it also invites us to question ourselves. Why do we stay in toxic cycles? What fears keep us tethered to pain? And how can we find the courage to let go? Toxicity thrives in silence and complacency. Healing begins when we speak, act, and reclaim our power. It's not easy, it's a revolution of the soul, but as the Stoics remind us, the obstacle is the way. You deserve more than chaos disguised as passion. You deserve love that feels like home, not a battlefield. Because the philosophy of healing isn't just about escaping toxicity, it's about rediscovering the strength and beauty within yourself.